Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program we get an update from Jean Foy of the Massachusetts Public Interest Research Group in Weymouth. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, it is gorgeous out there. 59 degrees right now. It's kind of breezy, but a high of at least 60, probably warmer than that this afternoon if we're at 59 right now, and it'll be rather breezy all day today as well, but that balmy breeze feels very nice this time of year. It'll cool down tonight. Lows drop off into the lower 30s. Really a pretty nice weekend coming up. Much cooler tomorrow, but lots of sunshine. Breezy. It'll be brisk with highs only in the low 40s tomorrow, back into the low 50s as the clouds increase on Sunday. Could be a late night shower Sunday night. Most of it will be reserved for showers on Monday morning, and then some clouds later in the day Monday with highs in the low 40s. And really next week looks pretty mild as well. But right now we have a sunshine and a breezy 59 degrees here in Quincy. Checking news for you today, there's a new Ward 4 City Councilor in Quincy. James Devine won this past Tuesday's special election to fill the seat that was vacated when Brian Palmucci resigned late last year after being appointed a district court judge. Devine earned 628 votes compared to Joel Buenaventura's 412 votes, with just over 9% of Ward 4 voters casting ballots. Devine said he was extremely grateful for the support.
I plan to, there was just over 1,000 people that voted. I want to compare those to the preliminary ones and find out who voted in both of them. And it's probably going to take me about 3 months to do, but I'm going to try and get out and personally thank every single person that voted. Wow. That includes all the ones that voted for my opponents because they got out and voted. And I also want to let them know that I'm here for them, you know. It's 1,000 people. It shouldn't be that hard, but I think it would be easier in the spring. So that's why I say 3 months. So if you don't see me thanking you right away yet, I will be knocking on your door to say thank you because I appreciate it.
Devine will be sworn in during Monday night's City Council meeting at City Hall. He will serve out the remainder of the term this year. He says he does plan to run for the full 2-year term in this fall's city elections. Fire destroyed 2 businesses in South Quincy during that bitter blast of Arctic air that we had last Saturday. The 2-alarm blaze broke out at Quincy Collision and Frame Center, and then it spread to Making Your Mark printing shop on Liberty Streets. 4 frozen fire hydrants hampered firefighting efforts. However, firefighters did manage to confine the blaze to those 2 adjoining businesses. There were no injuries. However, the frigid conditions led to some slips on the ice. A warming tent and a bus were set up to give firefighters a break from the brutal cold weather. The Quincy DPW spread sand in that area to help prevent falls as well. The cause of the fire still under investigation. Special thanks to Quincy firefighters Steve Sweet and Tom Bowes for providing those photos for us. Now, plans for a large new performing arts center in Quincy Center may have to be downsized due to exorbitant costs. 2 years ago, Mayor Thomas Koch, along with developer Sam Slater from Tremont Asset Management, unveiled plans for a 500,000 square foot, 3-level performing arts center with some residential development above that at the city-owned Messina lot on Hancock Street. Now the mayor says inflation may force those plans to change.
I'm still hopeful about a cultural center slash arts center, what we're going to call it in the end, but that certainly was a theme that seemed to override everything else that people were interested in seeing. And I think, you know, as a city, and we've talked about it a number of times, Joe, that a city our size and our diversity, it certainly is time for such a facility in the downtown city, part of our city. The other challenge is in these times, the cost of everything has gone crazy. So what would have been hopefully a cultural center as part of another development in the downtown, we're working our tails off, but the numbers are daunting. So we're still working it. I'm hopeful we'll come up with an angle to pull it off. But yeah, we'll be re-engaging with the public in the coming, probably in the springtime.
Sam Slater is also developing a 15-story, 204-unit residential tower in Quincy Center and is developing a $100 million residential building on Hancock Street up in North Quincy. Going to be a very busy weekend for the Quincy College Sports Department. The second-place Granite men's basketball team will play first-place Northern Essex Community College tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Eastern Nazarene College in Quincy. And Granite guard Mecky Diedrich from Dorchester was just named Men's Player of the Week in the National Junior Collegiate Athletic Association's Division III just last week. The team has a record of 16-2 this season. Plus, the Quincy College men's hockey team wraps up the home portion of their inaugural season with 2 games. Granite Hockey plays the University of New Hampshire tonight at 7 o'clock and then Brown University Sunday at 2. Both of those games at the Quincy Youth Arena, and admission is free. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, Jean Foy of the Massachusetts Public Interest Research Group will be joining us next. Welcome back. It's been a little while since we chatted with Jean Foy of the Massachusetts Public Interest Research Group in Weymouth, but she has been here before to tell us about MassPIRG and what it does and how it might be able to help you, and she's back. Hi, Jean. Good to see you again.
Hi, Joe. Good to see you again, too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
I still wish people Happy New Year until at least the end of February.
That's right.
Yeah. Or maybe into June.
That's mid-year.
It was a couple of years. It was at least a couple of years ago, I think, that you were here.
I was trying to think whether it was last year or the year before.
I think it was the year before.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely.
So it's been a while.
It's been a little while, so it's time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's time for an update. So, what is MassPIRG, Jean?
Okay. So, MassPIRG Consumer Action Center, which is the office that I run in Weymouth, is a local consumer program that is funded by the Massachusetts Attorney General's office, and we mediate complaints for that office. So if a consumer files a complaint with the Attorney General's office and it's a consumer type problem, home improvement, debt collection, retail, they will send it out to one of their 18 local consumer programs. We handle the Quincy area, Weymouth, Rockland, all the way up to like Newton, Brookline.
Oh, okay.
And any complaint that you have that's consumer related, we would take a formal complaint. We would reach out to the business. We would try to help you get your problem resolved so you don't have to go to small claims court.
I see.
We also track complaints for the Attorney General's office. So we're kind of like the eyes and ears in the local community to alert them when we see some issues.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a car dealer that's not honoring the used vehicle warranty law, or a retailer that's not following the defective goods laws, we alert the Attorney General's office to those kind of bad practices or bad actors so that they can take further action.
Okay, all right. How long has the group been around, do you know, even just roughly?
The local consumer program?
Yeah.
I believe that it was established by Frank Bellotti.
Oh, wow, okay.
So would that be like the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so quite a while then.
Yeah, quite a while.
So you're kind of like their eyes and ears out in the community.
At the community level,
Yeah.
also, they have a tremendous amount of complaints that they get there, so we're able to take some of the burden off of them and handle things more quickly than if they all just, waited up there for someone to be able to make the time to get to them.
Yeah. Is it successful, would you say? Do you have a good track record?
We do. Personally,
Yeah.
I don't keep those statistics, but we definitely resolve more than half of the complaints that we get. It is a voluntary process, so if a business isn't interested in working with us or feels strongly that they don't need to do anything to accommodate the consumer, or they want to have their dispute heard in small claims court,
Yep.
then they may not work with us. But I'd say we're pretty successful. Most businesses are willing to work with us to help resolve it because it's in everybody's best interest if you can resolve it without going to court.
Right, right. So do you have a staff, Jean, that you send out, or is it a staff of you?
I am full-time in
Okay.
the office. I also have an assistant director who works part-time. At the moment, it's just us.
Wow.
Many of the offices use volunteers and interns. Each local consumer program is run differently, but we're able to handle our volume of cases with just the two of us right
Okay.
now.
All right. So you're based in Weymouth. Do people come to the office to have their complaints addressed, or how do they reach out to you?
So most people find us through the Attorney General's office.
Oh.
They file the complaint with the
Okay.
Attorney General's office, and then it gets referred to us. But we do get a lot of people who hear about us from someone else, or maybe they've dealt with us before. You can come into the office. Obviously, with COVID,
Right.
we kind of shut that down for a little bit.
Yep.
Most of what we do is by phone. It's always been set up to be kind of a call line where we do things by phone.
Okay.
If someone needs to come into the office, if someone wants to show us something, they're more than welcome,
Sure.
obviously.
Okay.
But it's quicker and more efficient to just kind of do it by telephone.
Okay, and we're putting the number up on the website as well, folks, to get a hold of you.
And so we are located in Weymouth in the Council on Aging building in Weymouth.
Oh, okay.
So it is accessible for people who want to come and see us.
Okay, so that used to be the Whipple Senior Center.
It is still the Whipple Seniors. It goes by all sorts of names.
Okay, all right. So we have the 10 New Year's resolutions to prevent scams and protect your identity. And these are great for everybody, really. Yeah.
They are.
Get your credit report at least once a year is the #1 recommendation.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be your first tip-off that maybe something's wrong, or it's going to help you keep things clean. We also suggest that you don't get it once a year, that you get it 3 times a year. There's 3 credit bureaus. We suggest you stagger it if you can, to get one every 4 months so that you're keeping an eye on your credit throughout the year.
Okay.
But even just getting it once a year is excellent. And you're entitled to get 1 free credit report from each of the credit bureaus a year for free.
Okay.
So
For free.
For free.
Okay. So this is not your credit score. This is the
no,
report.
it's not your credit score.
Okay.
That's completely different.
Right.
And I think that I don't really get my credit score very often, but a lot of credit card companies will provide it to you for free.
Sure.
I think you have to pay for it if you want that next level information.
Okay. So the website for the report is annualcreditreport.com. That's the only website, right?
That's the only
Yeah,
website.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can go directly to the 3 credit reporting bureaus and request it too.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I do have information that I can give people on that. It's available online to
Mm-hmm.
lots of places. But you'd either go through annualcreditreport.com or you go directly to
To the agency.
TransUnion, Experian, or Equifax.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And give them their information
Right.
through their website only.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
What if there's a problem? Are you able to help them with
So
that?
there is a form that comes with your credit report. If you see something on there that doesn't belong, you want to report it right away to the credit reporting agency, dispute it, they should remove it. So some of the things you want to look out for is an address on there that's not yours.
Oh.
That could mean you're a victim of identity theft, or it could mean that there's been some kind of credit mixing, just an error that
Clerical
needs
type
to be,
error.
that
Okay.
needs to be corrected. If there's credit cards on there that you don't have, you definitely want to
That's a
report
problem,
it.
yeah.
So there could be red flags on there. You want to pull it, make sure everything on there is right. Anything that's wrong, you want to dispute or fix.
Okay.
Yes.
And the agency has a process for
They
disputing
do.
and fixing.
They do.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that costly, do you know, to do the fix if necessary?
No, it's all free.
Oh, it's all free. Okay.
Yeah, it's a free service. Sometimes if someone's having difficulty getting something removed, we'll also suggest that they go right to the person who's reporting it. So the credit reporting bureau, they just investigate it. And so they'll reach out to, say, your credit card company that you're like, that's not my credit card company.
Oh, okay.
And they'll reach out to them. And if they say, yes, it is, it's true information, it'll stay on your credit report. So sometimes you have to take that extra step
Okay.
and reach out to the credit card
To
company.
the actual company?
Yeah, to
Okay.
say this isn't my debt, and provide me with proof that it is my debt, or remove it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds tedious.
Yeah, and
but
I
it's
will
worthwhile,
say,
right?
one of the things, like, we handle consumer complaints, and if it's a legitimate business, if it's someone we can reach out to and talk to, we can usually help you resolve it.
Yeah.
Or at least get you an answer why we can't help
Right.
you resolve it.
Yeah.
But we send out this 10 New Year's resolutions to prevent scams and protect your identity at the beginning of the year, because the hardest things to resolve are the things that are being done by fraudsters, scammers, not legitimate contractors. You can't resolve it if it's a criminal matter. So
Well, there's no paper trail, right? There-
exactly.
yeah.
So these tips are kind of like, let's try to get ahead of that so
Yep.
that you don't fall victim to these kind of things,
Good
because
point.
if you run into a problem, it is a lot of work to try
Yep.
to fix that identity theft or that scam. if it
So
can
prevent
be
it before it
fixed.
happens, right?
Prevent it
Yeah.
before it happens. Yeah,
Great-
that's
great
the
tip.
whole thing.
Are you able to help with? There are legitimate online-only companies also now, of course. Can you help with that as well? If there's a problem with an online-only
Oh yeah,
company?
yeah. We
okay.
we do handle online complaints all the time. In
Okay.
fact, another good, one upside of COVID is that a lot of people transition to being more accessible online.
Yes.
So, things I think resolve a little bit quicker when you're dealing with the online companies because they have a contact that you can reach out
Yep.
to, and you can kind of resolve those things.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we can't help, and the company's based in a different state, sometimes we suggest you go to, say, the California Attorney General's
I see,
office if
okay.
they're not being responsive to us. But we get a lot of online complaints.
Sure.
Yeah.
And your service is free, right? 'Cause-
It's a free service,
Yeah,
yep.
that's-
We're funded by the Attorney General's
Yeah,
office.
it's already paid for,
and
yeah.
You don't get charged for our assistance, yeah.
Okay. Be a better shredder.
Be a better shredder.
That's a pretty obvious one, right?
It is,
Yeah.
but you'd be surprised. It's easy to find a cheap shredder that you can have in your house. And after you pay your bill, if you're still doing paper things, shred it. Anything that has personal information, your name, your address, people don't think about the pre-approved credit screening things. Those are pretty valuable, so you want to shred those.
Okay.
Even the labels on your prescription medication can have some personal identifying information on it. So anything, that's got that, you want to shred it.
Okay. Good advice. Be less social on social media.
Yes. This is huge.
Really?
It is.
Yeah.
People go online and they just don't realize all the information that they're sharing on Facebook, on Instagram. You put stuff out there, the names of your kids, the town you live in, your dog's name. Oftentimes those things,
Very innocuous things, right?
but they sometimes are your password,
Yeah.
or sometimes they're your what do you call it, the security question.
Yes.
What was the name of your first dog? It could be that one that you're
Right.
posting all over Facebook
Right.
with the name.
And there are people that are looking for this stuff, right? That's their
They are.
job, is to try
Right.
to figure out who you are. Yeah.
It is. And the other thing is there's a lot of, I don't know if you've ever got them, but like the Facebook quizzes where it's a fun thing to do with your friends. How many times you were arrested? What was the first car you ever had? You don't know who generated that quiz. You don't know who's taking that information and keeping it and tracking it for whatever purposes.
Okay.
So, don't do them. They're not fun. Don't do them. You're putting too much information about yourself out there online that you can't take back once it's
Okay.
out there.
Again, good advice, yes. But it's so ubiquitous in our
It is.
society, you don't even think about it anymore,
don't.
you know?
You
But
don't.
give it a second thought is the
It could
is the
open a
message.
door for a scammer to scam you. So, avoid it.
Along that same line of thinking, create complex passwords.
Now, this is a big one,
This
right?
is a controversial one, right?
It certainly is.
Yeah.
And, how do you remember them and how do you
Right.
keep them? But you definitely want to have a fairly long password. You want to change it regularly. And it can be just a simple change. So like one thing that is recommended and does work well is to find a song or a phrase or something you like. Let's say Jack and Jill went up the hill, and you just take the first letter of every one of those words. Jack and Jill went up the hill, and then maybe you put an exclamation point in somewhere.
Okay.
And you can kind of keep the same formula, but differentiate it between
Change the case,
Yeah.
lowercase, uppercase,
Yeah.
things like that. yeah.
And it's interesting because most people, if their password, when they use a password, it starts with a capital letter.
Oh,
So don't do that.
okay. Okay.
Don't reuse your passwords.
Yeah.
Definitely substitute, a character for a letter.
Yep.
Just little things, and make it a phrase. So let's say you have a password for your favorite coffee place. It could be something like, "I love black coffee 2023."
Okay.
And drop some of the letters, drop all the vowels, do something, but it's a phrase you can remember.
Something you can remember, yeah.
Write it down, keep it someplace.
just gonna
I
ask,
think the
do you
next one,
recommend
keep it someplace safe.
Someplace safe, okay, all right.
Yeah, there's some controversy on that too, right?
Don't store it on your computer.
Don't store on your computer, although there are like password saving companies that
Managers,
some
yeah.
people vouch for.
Yep.
But if it's compromised, that's
So
all
is your
you-
password. Yeah.
So is your password. I'm old school. I write mine down and I keep it in a safe place.
Yeah, yeah. I want to skip ahead because something that goes along with that is the two-factor
Yes.
authentication, which is, I think that's a great aspect of
It is
safety.
great,
Yeah.
but it's a pain too, right?
Well, you have to have a separate device with you, right?
You do, or
Yeah.
you have, I mean, Yeah, you can. No, normally you can choose where it goes. There's
Right.
a couple of ways to do it. You can have it text your cell phone.
Yes.
So then you probably need separate device if you're on your computer. You can have them send you an email.
Okay.
That just means you have to then go open your email and get it
And
and put
reply
it in.
to that, yeah.
And then there are some random generator code apps that you can download, and then you just pull up that number that they sent you, and it keeps circulating throughout the day.
Okay.
So worth having to do that. If someone tries to access one of your email accounts or one of your banks, they're not going to be able to do it because the authentication is going to come to you, and you're going to know, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, I didn't do that.
Right. Yeah. So it stops dead in its tracks right there.
Highly recommended, even for your email.
Yeah, it's interesting that MassPerg has got these recommendations out because it's not what we consider, I guess, a consumer issue, but it really is now,
It
right?
is, yeah.
Do you see a lot of this type of fraud?
You do see it,
Yeah.
and again, it's heartbreaking because there's not really a lot you can do.
Yeah.
Because it's a scammer. We're not going to be able to find that person. And what we have, which is this booklet that the FTC puts out
Oh, okay.
on identity theft
Okay.
and steps you can take for different kind of things. So if your Social Security number was stolen, what the steps you can take. It's a
Okay.
step. So it's work. It's hard work to rectify something once you've been compromised.
That's available through your office?
Is through our office
Okay.
and through the FTC, and it's online at the FTC.
Okay.
It's a great resource.
Good tool, yeah.
It is a good
that
tool.
you hope you never have to use, right?
Right, right.
Old school, pick up your mail every day.
It is so old school.
Right.
And pay attention to your billing cycles because that's going to be another first alert that you're the victim of identity theft. If someone has stolen your identity, you're maybe going to get a bill for somebody that you don't have a credit card with, or you're not going to get your credit card bill. You got to pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like that first early warning sign.
Yeah, late
Years
fees
ago-
start to add up quickly, right?
Yeah. Years ago, years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I got a postcard in my mail saying the camera you ordered is ready to be picked up
Mm.
at Sears.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long ago it was. And I'm like, we didn't order a camera.
Yep.
So I called Sears, and they said, oh yeah, the camera's here for pickup. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna come and talk to someone there. When we went to Sears to pick it up, the person who had somehow stolen our identity
Yeah.
and ordered that camera had just picked it up and walked out with it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you got to pay attention to those postcards, those mailings, everything.
Yeah.
Just watch your mail.
Were you able to resolve that situation?
Sears was able
Okay.
to give us our money back because it was clear fraud.
okay.
And that's another thing with checking. You report it right away. Then you're probably going to get it resolved
Yes.
through the retailer or credit card company.
Don't let it wait. And you wouldn't
Don't
have known if you hadn't picked up
Yes.
that postcard in your
Yes.
mailbox, right?
Right,
So keep an
right.
eye on your mailbox.
Yep.
Okay. Mind your money.
Mind
so are
your
you talking
money.
cash, actual cash?
No, I'm talking credit cards again.
Okay.
Credit cards, banking statements. I can't tell you the number of complaints that I get from people who have been charged for an innocuous amount of money for 12 years that they didn't notice. 'Cause
Really?
They don't read their credit card statements.
Oh. Like a late fee? Or?
No, I'm talking a service that they never signed up
Oh.
for, or maybe one
like
that
a
they
subscription or
yeah,
something?
or
Okay.
maybe one that they signed up for and they never canceled. One they thought that they canceled, a health club membership that they thought they canceled and they were billed for 3 years.
Okay.
Because they're not looking at their statements. You have to mind your money. You also want to put an alert on any of your bank cards, credit cards that will notify you if there's like a transaction, a large transaction.
Yes.
That's another good tip
Yep.
off. I got one last in December about a Starbucks purchase that I didn't make. I got it right away. I didn't make it. I reported it. The money was put back.
Okay,
So,
all right.
mind your money. Get those notices. Know what's going on.
Yeah, and all these notification services through these companies are usually free.
They
right?
are free.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
they are.
It
Yep.
behooves you to take advantage of them.
Yep.
Something very timely this time of year, prepare and file your taxes ASAP, although
I know.
there's a little bit of a change to that this year.
I know. Although I suspect that even though the IRS is asking people to hold back,
Yeah.
there will be a fix for those people who didn't. So,
Well, yeah,
I mean,
you can file an amendment if you have to.
and
yeah.
the reason we suggest that is that, again, it would be another alert to the fact that you were victimized because you're not going to be able to file your taxes if someone else filed it for you.
In your name, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just, that one I know it's on there. I still recommend you do it as soon as possible.
Okay, yeah, I think they'll be coming out with an answer soon.
I think so too. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as to whether or not our state rebate is taxable federally or not. That's the question, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But there'll be a fix anyways if you paid and if you filed already, they'll figure it out.
If they decide, right? Exactly. Yeah. Then some common scams we've already talked about, really the bank credit card retail scams, the gift card grifters, that's a popular one, and the
It is.
online imposter agencies.
So, yeah, I mean, I just want to stress, like, really strongly, don't assume that every text, every email you get is legitimate.
Yeah.
Don't ever click on a link from an unsolicited email or text. Don't call someone back who leaves a number. Go to your card or your statement, get the correct number, and call it up. Again, years ago, I got a call from someone about a debt that wasn't paid, and they leave the number, but I looked at my credit card, I called the company, it wasn't them,
Okay.
they didn't call me. So
So-
you have to just, pause and don't jump. Don't let somebody make you think, oh, I didn't order that TV and they're delivering it to another state. I better click on this link so that doesn't happen.
Gotcha.
You didn't order the TV. They're just trying to scare you into clicking that link.
Trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Verify through a verifiable source.
Good advice, Jean. Thanks so much for coming by. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. We'll have you back.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good.
Just enough time to check the forecast for you for the rest of the day. Today you are going to love it. Sunshine, just a few clouds, breezy and warm with highs near 60 degrees. Pretty nice weekend, really. A little cooler tomorrow, some clouds on Sunday, and maybe some rain here on Monday. Thanks again to Jean Foy for joining us from MassPIRG.
Thank you.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. Speaking of Monday, here on the program, an update from the Social Security Administration. Meantime, head to our website anytime, qatv.org. Our latest programs are there. There's news and information for you, video on demand, live streaming, and more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great weekend.